Welcome to Punk's Talk Wrestling! On this episode, we've got the blood, we've got the blind, we've got the baseball bats, we've got the Tasmaniacs, and a possible spinal crack, along with the announcement of the signing of Stunning Steve Austin. Once again, we head back to Philly, 30 motherfucking years as we review ECW November to Remember 1994. I am R.W. Hellborn, the punk rock prince of PA, hailing quote unquote from Philly! And I am one half of the Crown, which is one half of your Punk's Talk Wrestling Inter-Universal Tag Team Podcast Champion host of the world. And always virtually by my side, 3,500 miles away in London, England. He is my tag team podcast partner. He is the other half of the Crown, which is the other half of your Punk's Talk Wrestling Inter-Universal Tag Team Podcast Champion host of the world. The jet-flying, French Phil Collins bookstore buying, more superior intellect having about all things professional wrestling, Mr. Did You Know, Sir King of Reels, the proper brick, CJ Newman!
God damn. I mean, fuck. Damn, that goes down as one of the best intros of this podcast of all time. That was great. And the longest. That was, if this podcast was a Royal Rumble, it would be the greatest Royal Rumble.
Holy shit.
You know. Yeah. You okay there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that in the year 2000, ECW hosted a match between a current WCW wrestler and a current WWE wrestler, and it's the only time in history that this ever happened.
What? I blacked out there for a second.
So in the year 2000, the WCW signed Mike Awesome, and WWF signed Taz. When they signed Mike Awesome, though, he was still the current ECW champion. So what they did, for some reason, is they did a show and made an agreement with WCW and WWF to have both Mike Awesome and Taz, coming from the two different companies, to perform on an ECW show for the ECW championship, even though they are both contracted to their two competitors.
That's wild.
So that's crazy. And the only time in history that all three companies work together on anything.
Well, yeah, when they were in fact three distinct companies.
Yeah, exactly. And so Taz wins that championship, beats Mike Awesome, becomes the ECW champion. I believe that at one point, Taz comes out on an episode of SmackDown with the ECW championship, and they do make a note that he did win it. And then I think he loses it to someone. I don't know who. I think maybe Rhino. I might be wrong on that. But yeah, so that's my Did You Know.
All right, there you go.
How are you doing there? You good?
Am I? Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were still trying to gain some air.
Oh no! I've regained composure. I've regained. I was surprised. I've been working on my cardio a lot lately, so it's really showing. Yeah. My lung capacity. Well, got to get back into shape for getting ready for the road.
That's right.
Riverside Odds is going to be going on tour again in June.
Why don't you give that a cheap plug?
I am going to give that a cheap plug.
Fuck yeah, you should.
Once again this summer, Riverside Odds is going on tour with our friends the Cheats from Pittsburgh, and not only that, on Tuesday, June 18th, in Youngstown, Ohio, we're opening up for the Reverend Horton Heat and the Super Suckers. How about that?
That's right.
How about that?
How about that? Suck on those apples.
How about that? Yeah. How's about we talk about that?
Yeah.
What a big motherfucking deal. It's going to be a good time.
That'd be a good show.
I'm actually nervous. I'm going to be judged extremely harshly by Eddie. I know. He's and he's going to try to fuck with me, I'm sure. It's gonna make
He'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be fine.
Oh, it'll be great.
And where are you going on tour?
It looks like we're heading in the direction of Chicago.
Sweet.
Yeah. The rest is still in process of being figured.
Oh, okay,
routing.
cool.
Yeah, the route is being routed, but the aim is basically a slingshot from from here out to Chicago and pretty much kind of little dip down maybe to Indianapolis.
Nice.
On the way back, a little smiley, a little open mouth smiley face kind of thing, straight line and then a little bit of a curve.
That's one way of describing it.
Yeah, that certainly is one way of describing it. How about you, man? What's anything else going on with you? What's
nothing really.
Nothing. You just flying
literally
around
nothing.
the world. Just
I'm just
stamping those
passport. I mean, I just did Paris. I got 2.5 weeks. I'll be with you in America for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to Berlin.
You want to just drive up to Canada while you're here just to do it, just to cross over for the day,
just to say just to knock another country off my list.
Really, I mean, you can make a day trip to Niagara Falls. It's actually not that it wouldn't be that unheard of or impossible.
Okay, well, that's an option. I wouldn't say no.
Right?
Why would I say no
to
seeing Niagara Falls? Right?
Right?
Yeah. I go to Berlin in June.
Yeah,
I'm going to Download Festival, by the way.
Damn, dude.
I think I've told you that. Yeah, I'm doing Download Festival this year.
Doing it, by doing it, you mean you're attending. You're not playing.
I'm attending it. I'm not playing it.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck that.
It gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah, you
never
know. But yeah, I'm attending Download Festival and camping as well, so that should be fun.
Nice. Oh, that will be fun.
And then so I got loads planned this year, but no musical ventures right now at the moment. So
and that's good because you should be putting all of your time and effort and energy into studying your wrestling knowledge and Phil Collins.
And I am.
Knowledge.
And actually that brings me to my announcement, because last week, if you remember, I said that I announced that I would have an announcement in true Tony Khan fashion.
Last week, you did announce that this week you'd have an announcement, and that was the announcement would be this week.
That's right. So my announcement would be a stipulation, if you remember. And my stipulation is if I am to lose this challenge between me and the anonymous podcast dickhead, if I were to lose this match, this contest, I will leave Punk Talk Wrestling forever.
Are you sure you want to do this?
That's how damn sure.
That's
how confident I am. Because I know I'm not going to lose. I know
you're not going to lose either. I have 100% confidence in you too. But I mean, there's no way some anonymous, just some random anonymous podcast critic has a chance of outwitting you at a contest of wits that he somehow created the rules for, or the qualifications for it being.
But here's the deal, I know that the Phil Collins element of all this is the
it's the dark horse.
It's not my strong suit, and I'm man enough to say that it's not my strong suit. But I've been doing my research, and I know my professional wrestling like the back of my hand, so I know what I'm doing, and I have full confidence in myself. And
well, there it is. I mean,
but yeah, if I do lose, then that's it. No more co-host. You will just be the host, and your intro would get like like half. It would be
Probably,
half the time that it is now.
Yeah, I mean Well, the podcast. I mean, the entire podcast would be half as long because I would be just talking to myself, and then dead air. There'd be dead. I just cut out the dead air.
Yeah, but
waiting for.
That's what's on the line. That's what's on the line.
That is putting it on the line.
Yeah,
and as someone once said, if you're ready, put it on the line.
That's right. Who said that?
I did in one of my songs.
Okay. Famous quote
from me, by me, to the world.
I can see it now. It's you, like a black and white picture of you with glasses on. And in script writing, it says
if
what
you're
you
ready,
just said.
If you're ready,
put it on the line. Put it on the line. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that a Riverside Odd song?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing it.
Yes, it's right. Yeah, it's from the bridge of More Rock and Roll on Riverside Odd's latest album, Punching Above Our Weight, which will be
when you said it.
In support
I heard it in my head. Yeah, that's why I heard it in my head. So
yeah, it's a great song. It's one of the best.
Yeah,
ever.
If you can say so yourself.
Yeah, I can.
You can. You're
I can
completely
say
allowed.
Yeah. I
well
will,
and
rights. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, now that we talked about that, how's about we talk about what the hell happened this week?
What the fuck did we talk about?
Did we? I feel like we didn't actually talk about what happened this week. We just kind of
didn't. We just talked about a whole lot of other shit. So maybe we just don't say that this time.
Yeah.
You edit it in however that it works. Well, hey, we've got Sami Zayn versus Gunther. We've got Jay versus Jimmy been announced.
We know that's official.
A fucking 6-pack ladder match tag team challenge thing,
insane.
Which is going to be fucking insane. I really hope that's night 2.
Excuse me. Oof, man. Waterloo.
So, we got a 12-man ladder match. A hashtag, what the fuck, that's a 12-man ladder
match. What the fuck, that's a 12-man ladder. Yep, there it is. It's the evolution.
Yeah, it's 2 more.
I just wrote down hashtag sign, but then I wrote the word hashtag, so it's now hashtag that's a 12-man ladder match.
But I mean, so a bunch of more matches announced, which is great. It's going to be really good to see what nights those are all going to be on. Eventually.
Shout out to WWE for doing the thing that I love, and that's doing something that I love and then doing more of it. Mm-hmm. The Candice LeRae heel turn.
Yeah.
Was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, already fucking laid into Maxine Debris.
Yeah.
I'm halfway through Chris Van Vliet's interview with her actually, because it got released last week, and she's really interesting, and it's like, she's got her background is basically dance. She was a cheerleader for NFL and NBA teams for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's come to the WWE, and she's very new to wrestling, and I think she's done really fucking well in the last year and she surrounded herself with in real life with Otis and Gable, people that are really good at professional wrestling, and learned a lot from them, and clearly a hard worker and wants to learn. So whether or not those people were plants at that house show, or whether or not it's just some assholes in a certain state wherever they held a house show.
They decided, either way, they decided to capitalize on it.
Yeah, exactly.
In brilliant fashion.
Into the story, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, when it comes to something like that, let's absolutely assume she was okay with the way they did it, there was the immediate, the shock and awe of oh my God, that's so fucking mean. And then it's okay, well, isn't one of your top guys saying some horribly egregious stuff over in AEW right now? There's
exactly.
Apparently it's not all that shocking. It might be shocking for you for it to have come from Candice LeRae, because you might not have been as familiar with her extremely devious heel work in NXT.
Yeah.
But she's,
And I think it's a perfect route for Candice as well, because she's
is.
not, since she's been in the main roster, pushing her as a face has not really gone over too well with the crowd. But I think putting her as a heel is perfect for her. She'll
perfect
fly
for her,
with that gimmick.
and it's perfect for Max because now they're the perfect pairs. It's not just who's like a face and who's a heel. It's who's emotionally manipulative and who's emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different type of storytelling. It's a much more, the heel turn, the Damage Control turning on Bailey, and then immediately, what's her name?
Dakota Kai?
Yeah. Dakota Kai turning on her again.
Turns on Bailey. Yeah, exactly.
Just a double dagger where you didn't have to. You could have. It could have perfectly worked having Dakota Kai stick with Bailey as a thing, except in this instant. Except they just decided to do the double dagger hits.
Yeah, and it gives more sympathy for the face as well.
It works. It works perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's we've said it before. There's just more depth to some of these stories.
Right, exactly.
It's not
there
just,
is, man. And it just
it's
we've
not
been
just
saying it for fucking months.
Yeah,
we've been saying this for months.
Yeah.
It's just so everyone's character's so fleshed out, and like they're not just this one or two dimensional character anymore. They've got Seth Rollins, Chad Gable's even got a great story right now. Right? Where he's bringing up his family all the time and how he lost to and I love that everything that happens is being remembered. It's not like something happens and they never mention it again. It's like every single thing happens for a reason, and they'll mention it weeks and weeks and months and years later.
Even the stuff, and I'll be surprised. I'll tell you what, I had to watch the ups and downs, with Simon Miller to get all of the stuff, because I still have the cheap like 90-minute Hulu cut.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that you miss, that's the biggest problem with it, is because for me is a lot of stuff you miss in that Hulu cut is the storyline stuff, is the backstage segments. The extra time in the ring. Like I've seen them totally cut ring segments.
Sometimes those things are like the most important things. Like, in fact, when it comes to story anyway, like the matches, but that's why I think sometimes the cut for Hulu is just edited by some guy at Hulu. That doesn't
like it would be better off. It would be better off if they actually, to be honest, like as crazy as it might sound, they in the Hulu cut. They need to cut out more actual wrestling.
It's true,
and put back in more of the storyline stuff, because you just miss it. It's not
you don't watch every week for the matches. You watch every week for to keep up with the story. And they could easily, if there's a 20-minute match, you can just
you can cut out,
edit down the match and cut out.
Yeah, you can cut. You can do the highlights of the match. There has to be, but this is Peacock's problem. This is Hulu's problem with their stuff. This is, it's everyone's problem with how professional wrestling is in its own kind of bubble with how it is. Like it's its own universe of entertainment that never really does conform to how any of this other stuff works. So it's, I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. I don't know. We surprise. We went off the rails immediately after the intro.
But I guess now we actually can say, how's about we talk about ECW November to Remember 1994.
30 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right. Shit. That didn't even register with me that this was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's because the 90s don't seem like 30 years ago to me.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't, but here we are.
But here we are 30 years later.
Well, first of all, let's run through the. I'll run through it this time because it's right here in front of me, and because there's not much. It's November 5th, 1994, to be exact, from Philly, the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with an attendance of 1,000.
I think that's the capacity. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the 2300 Arena, as it is now called, is a thousand cap. So that would make sense. They would they would sell it out. This is their first under actual Extreme Championship Wrestling banner, because the first was when it was still Eastern Championship. This is the birth of ECW,
the birth
as
Extreme Championship Wrestling. Yeah,
as people know it.
As
people knew it.
Yeah.
And I had actually never seen this up until now. I've seen the clips of it. I've seen clips of it in any package that they would put clips of things that involve these guys. I didn't realize that this was the event where Chris Benoit got the nickname the Crippler.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Also, he legitimately crippled Sabu, but Sabu wrestled in an event like a month later.
Literally 2 weeks later. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later.
2 weeks later.
Yeah. There's a lot to go into that with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no spoilers with this event. I mean, it's 30 years old.
It's 30 years ago. If you haven't watched it at this point,
there was, you and I both had the same reaction when we first started watching it, was remembering that they only had one camera.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. What match was it? I can't remember. I made a note during the match, but I noticed, here we go, during Mr. Hughes and Too Cold Scorpio, I noticed there's another fucking camera. There's a camera at ringside.
Yeah, but they only
never
used
cuts to it.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is from the edited for whatever reason.
Well, the majority
of this was from a single camera.
I did a little bit of research.
Oh, good.
And what it seems is this is... So it kind of wasn't a pay-per-view. It's weird. I don't think ECW...
It certainly didn't feel like a pay-per-view.
Yeah. ECW went to proper pay-per-view in, I think it was 96 or 97, right? And this was like a special event. And I'm not sure in what way it was aired, but it was aired in some fashion. But I think 2 matches from this event. I know that Mr. Hughes versus Too Cold Scorpio was one of these matches. 2 of these matches and the Sandman promo were used for their weekly Hardcore TV show. So I think whenever you saw that second camera is because they were recording it for their Hardcore TV.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's what they did. It makes... And that was one of the things I had to kind of remember, the way they did their events and the way they presented it. It made sense why it felt so disjointed and why there was so much. There were pauses in between things that were extremely long, and why there were people that had multiple matches in the same night. They were filming for 2 different purposes.
Yeah, I feel like around 96 or 97 is when things became a bit more uniform into a formula that we know now, which is like doing weekly TV and then holding a pay-per-view. But this was the time, I don't know, it's where they're trying to figure shit out, basically.
Yeah, they certainly were. And it was great to see, like, if you looked at it from just what it was, it took me a while to get into watching it because of how raw it was.
It's super, it was like watching
the length of time, the length of time it took people to get in and out of the rings, and the like a lot of stuff that it was. But that's precisely what it was. It wasn't a finished it wasn't even meant to this presentation of it wasn't even meant to be the way
how it was meant to be digested.
Yeah. So that actually it made it easier for me to watch it after that, because you realized it wasn't. You realized that you were watching it's like just watching the filming of a movie on set.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of extra stuff that you wind up seeing more than you actually needed to see.
I really, in a weird way, I enjoyed it. It's like, I love the fact that this stuff is on the network. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm really happy about that. I am happy about that.
It's
I mean,
just
as much as I say
it
fuck
doesn't
Peacock.
need to be there. It's such a throwaway show, but the fact that they've taken the effort to put it up so you can watch it, like I guarantee you, any money that. Likely yesterday when we both watched this event, we were like the only two people on the planet Earth watching 1994 November to Remember, but it's there to watch.
Sure. And
so
it's
great.
That is one of the things I have always praised the WWE Network for, and even though fuck Peacock, I hate their. It's because I hate the user interface for wrestling is always bad. Like they haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
But the amount of actual content that you get on there is so massive. Like you could easily watch WWE programming all day long, all day every day. You'll never be able. I mean, that's like at most streaming services, but for a professional wrestling fan,
or for a sport as well.
For a sport, for a sport, there's nothing else like it. There's no. Where do you go to watch every single Eagles football game?
Right, exactly.
Or every single Manchester United football game.
Yeah.
Football for the rest of the world whose football is soccer to us idiots. And
from the top here.
Let's get from the top.
We have two ring announcers come out. It seems, and then they throw out some hats, and then cut to the chase. A guy plays the national anthem on guitar.
Yeah, no, but they don't announce who any of these people are.
No, I have no idea.
And I don't.
We can't do a. We can. I guess we can do on-screen personnel. Joey Styles was on commentary.
Was there? Is it even listed? It doesn't even have it on
There's no
Wikipedia.
listing, so that's all I know for a fact.
Joey Styles is there. Yeah, Joey Styles is there, and Paul Heyman was there.
Yeah. So, and then Paul E. Dangerously, and 911 came out, and they choke slam the guitarist.
I know they're heels. If this is the first time you're watching ECW,
I mean, I think they were heels.
I think if you choke slam someone playing the national anthem, it's pretty much a heel. That's a pretty big heel thing to do. Also,
I think they might have been faces though, because at the end of the night, because 911 attacks Benoit, and I think wasn't Benoit a face? Was Benoit a face? No, Benoit.
I don't know.
It was really hard to tell who was.
It was really hard to tell who was.
Especially with an ECW crowd, because they just cheer and boo whoever they want to.
I think everybody just likes everybody to beat each other up.
Yeah, I think that's an ECW crowd.
You're right, though. You're absolutely right. It was certainly difficult to tell who was heel and who was face.
Yeah, it was.
In any of them.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's roll from that right into.
We had Hack Myers versus JT Smith.
Yeah. It was a good match.
Yeah, that's what my notes was just like. Yeah, it was an okay match. Like, got into some weapons immediately with some chairs, and JT Smith has an amazing drop kick. I thought, which is nice, and it ended with a Northern Lights suplex. And I'm going to say this now, because I'm going to say it every single match. The match ends with the loser attacking the winner. There are a lot of years, I've watched a lot of ECW over the years, actually. I mean, when the network first came out, that was the thing I was most excited about watching, was a lot of ECW. Being from the UK, it was obviously a lot harder to get your hands on any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So when the network first came out, I kind of binge watched a lot of ECW shows. And I did notice from around this time period till about 97, that was kind of how things went. And I feel like from 97 till like 2001, there was a lot more story-based things, and it was a bit more of a production was involved, and you had like RVD and Jerry Lynn having like classics and like, you know, things like that, where it was like no one was getting attacked after the match. It was just like good matches.
Because they were working closer with WWE already at the time already.
Exactly.
And you can absolutely see the difference when you.
This is the part of the night where I realized that this event was filmed on one camera, and then I made a list of all the technical equipment used during this event, and that's one camera, 2 microphones.
Yep.
That's it.
And one of them, I do remember when the microphone was getting recorded, but I guess wasn't being picked up on the.
Yeah.
When Heyman was like smacking the microphone.
Yeah. I think that must have
working,
been that must have been Joey Styles' one to use, because that was the commentator's table.
It was a commentary. Yeah, that was a commentary microphone, so he wasn't hearing it it wasn't over the loudspeaker. It was only in headsets, which I was also surprised at. The lack of commentary throughout the entire night.
Yeah, well, I guess when you got one guy by himself, it's a lot harder to.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know Joey Styles' background before you like he started with ECW, but
you said, they might have. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, they might have. It also might have been because they didn't need commentary because this match was being recorded and they were going to put commentary in afterwards. Like,
yeah, possibly. Yeah. I did find it funny actually after this match ended, and it was obviously one of those big gaps, and that's when I was like, because in these big gaps, I made sure actually not to fast forward through the gaps, because I was
I totally did.
Because I was like,
oh, sorry, I ain't got time for that.
I was like, well, let's see, because like I might catch something, or something stupid might happen. And I
thought about that.
So Joey Styles between these matches, like you could just hear him like talking, and he goes, "Oh, are we still hot?" As if to say, "Are we still online, like on air?" And then he asks if he can get a mic stand.
Yeah,
because he's obviously just sitting there holding a microphone, and that's it.
And that's what, again, it's one of those things that you go back and you realize how, I mean, of course they had a lot less of a production than WWE, but even WWE, even AEW, even the bigger promotions, like a lot of the things they do are still flying by the seat of their pants half the time when they're recording live, and it's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of glitter, there's a lot of cardamom you can throw, and or oregano that you can toss in post production. We got to bring the oregano and the
and the cilantro
and the cilantro, the coriander.
The coriander, that's it. Yeah,
coriander. That's what did I say before? I said something that wasn't coriander. Anyway, we got to bring it back. We got to bring it back to the actual pay-per-view. Next, Pitbull 1 and Pitbull 2 defeated the Bad Breed, Axel Rotten and Ian Rotten, in a tag team match in 3 minutes and 11 seconds. And then the Bad Breed beat up the Pitbulls after the match.
What a surprise.
You know?
It was a classic ECW match where I think one tag happened, and that's when Joey Styles said, "Hey, look, a legal tag. There's a novel idea."
Yeah, and then it was 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
Ends with like some like super powerbomb off the top rope, and there was a chant of "We want blood" during this match, though, which they got because chains were used and people bled. So, that
is correct. They were, and they did.
Yes, they did. I got another tidbit from between the matches once again. Yeah. Because there was blood.
Hashtag tidbit between the matches. Between the match tidbit, or
let's say between the matches. That's that I like that. That's quite a good little segment right there. Between the matches. Anyway.
Between the matches. Yeah, there we go. Between the matches.
Anyway, a guy comes out and he mops up the blood around the ring. But then what he also does is he gets the same mop. He's a mop and bucket, by the way, a wet mop. And there's blood in the ring. And he just, from the ring, like he doesn't get in the ring or on the apron. He slops his mop under the bottom rope and just slooshes around the blood.
You bloody, hey, oi! You bloody sloosher!
Sloosh around that blood, mate. He just mops up the I don't really think he mops it up. He kind of spreads it. So you got this dirty mop that's just been on the concrete floor, wiping all the blood up on a wet canvas, which is a fabric. And then people are going to go in there and wrestle. That's the most unsanitary fucking canvas.
That is fucking Philly for you, man. That is Philly. It's probably the cleanest surface in that building at the time.
Building, yeah. Back to the show here.
Yeah, Two Cold Scorpio defeats Mr. Hughes in 7 minutes and 9 seconds.
Yeah.
This is the first time when I noticed how much they were talking about the other current promotions.
Yeah, they did a bit here, didn't they?
They mentioned a lot of Two Cold. They mentioned Two Cold Scorpio's past, working in WWE, working in WCW.
Yeah.
Later on they talk. I mean, Shane Douglas just comes.
He just comes out
dropping,
with it. Yeah,
he's just dropping everyboing's names and.
I don't think ECW just didn't give a fuck though. I mean, Cactus Jack's gimmick before he went to left the company, left ECW. He was a WCW lover. He used to come out with Eric Bischoff t-shirts on and stuff like that. That was his gimmick. So they played up because they played into it because they didn't have any rules to abide by, and they were semi-protected by the fact that they were underground. They were still underground enough that nobody took them serious. Exactly. Yeah.
But they had enough protection. They were also good enough at what they did. To become infamous.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, as we now know with Paul Heyman's huge legacy in the business. Most people, for a lot of people, this is their first introduction to him.
Oh yeah.
And I knew very little about Paul Heyman until the WCW, ECW. I knew Paul Heyman was the ECW guy, but I never watched.
Yeah, I was the same. ECW. Like he before, because he was a commentator at first. He was a commentator at first, and then he kind of bled into the invasion angle, and then then he was with Brock Lesnar, and then the rest is history. But same. I didn't know too much about him before then, but obviously as time's gone on, you do your research and you find things out. So
and you know how.
Congratulations to Paul Heyman, because he's inducted to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. I mean, of course, that's a no-brainer.
It had to be. If any year, it was going to be this year. So
it's what they've been waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Hughes, the only wrestler I've ever known to wrestle with sunglasses on.
Yeah, man. He kept them on.
The whole time.
Never came off. Freaking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was another guy that was just from WCW,
Yeah, he had a short stint in the WWE, but I don't really know.
He bounced around but he was just he was that big guy. He was that big tough motherfucker.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he was good at it.
But
not good enough to defeat Two Cold Scorpio.
No, but it's okay because the match ends with Mr.
Hughes
beating up Two Cold Scorpio and then fighting out to the back. Then we have the ring announcer letting everyone know. By the way, this is between the matches again.
Hashtag between the matches.
We've got the ring announcer telling everyone that they can buy their videotapes from the concession stands.
Yes. Shout out to the guy who reminds you to buy the stuff at the concession stand.
That's right. I love that
it's so indie punk band. It's like.
But it's funny. You go to a WWE house show, they still remind you to go to the concession stands if you think.
Oh, of course,
it's great.
They do it. They do it during Raw and SmackDown and things. They're just not doing it on. They don't do it during the pay-per-views. But I mean, I remember they would do it at a certain point during Raw and SmackDown before they would go and be on air. It's
yeah.
You're not seeing it on TV, but they're certainly
just fucking promote it. Why the fuck not? It's right there.
Yeah. Don't forget to tip your bartenders, it was T-shirts and CDs for sale at the merch booth.
There you go. You've been there before. You know what you're saying.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Been doing this for a decade or two.
It was this point of the night that I realized that all of the theme music that was being played was overdubbed, because obviously it was really famously known that ECW used to use copyrighted licensed music. So
they would just take. Yeah, I mean, the Sandman would come out to Metallica's Enter Sandman.
So from this point
nobody
forward,
cared. Nobody did anything about it.
I tried my best to see what themes people were using. So up next we have Tommy Cairo versus Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Cairo comes out to "We Will Rock You" by Queen, and Tommy Dreamer comes out to "Even Flow" by Pearl Jam.
Really?
2 great songs. Yeah.
No, wait, is that? Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's what the actual songs were. But we obviously
that's what the actual songs were live, but they overdubbed it with generic entrance music.
Generic rock entrance number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is probably another reason why it felt so disjointed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know.
So this was probably the most hardcore match of the night, I'd say.
Yeah. I would 100% agree with you.
We had frying pans. We had canoe paddles handed by the crowd.
Yeah, I also forgot how generous the ECW fans
bring
were.
their own weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. We had a pallet used. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, this was pretty brutal. I mean, Tommy Cairo gets kind of fucked up by Tommy Dreamer in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Just beats the absolute shit out with him with a cane, to the point that he just
fucking extreme
dies in the ring. And they just end the match, basically.
Yeah.
This match does not end with the loser attacking the winner, because he is knocked out.
That's right. This is the only one that does not.
Yeah. And crazy, actually, Tommy Dreamer had been with ECW for a year at this point. And this was like the start of, because I think when he started ECW, or Eastern Championship Wrestling, he was like a bit of a cookie cutter face. But this was the start of his kind of turn into like the hardcore icon.
Well, yeah.
Clearly, as can you tell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the other, you really do see the birth of a lot of these iconic characters. I mean, because next up, I mean, we have the Tasmaniac.
Oh no, we don't. Not yet. Not in the run of that. I don't know why it's written like that on the running on the page here, but it's actually they changed the order on the video. So next up was Ron Simmons.
Oh shit!
Yeah, in the running order of what we watched, it's Ron. Yeah, Simmons.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. It was.
So we got Ron Simmons against who the fuck was
Shane Douglas.
Yeah, Shane Douglas.
For the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, which again was odd that they had the championship match in the middle of the event.
Very weird.
But knowing that this was also recorded for like multiple purposes,
exactly,
it kind of made sense. It was uneventful, but it was still a good match.
Yeah, it was a solid match. It was just a very short match.
It wasn't. There wasn't the payoff that I think.
Yeah, maybe not what you'd expect from these two, but it was still okay. And I think, I mean, crazy to think that in this match here, Ron Simmons is 36 years old in this match.
I know. This is before. So this is in between, like. Before he came back with the APA and everything.
Yeah, so crazy little fact here is that soon after his time with ECW that you had here, so obviously he left it. He was with WCW, he won the World Championship in 1992. Then he became like a heel after that because he felt like the crowd just stopped caring about him when he became champion.
Yeah.
And then went to ECW.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. The biggest babyface of the era becomes champion, and then they immediately move on to the next one.
Yeah. Be careful,
Where
Cody.
have we seen this before?
Be careful,
and we'll
Cody
see
Rhodes.
it again immediately.
So he actually kind of like semi-retires from professional wrestling after ECW in 94 and become a warehouse manager for Coca-Cola.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He got out of wrestling, and wasn't it WWF, him coming back to WWF as
one of the acolytes.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was in the he was in the Nation of Domination.
Nation of Domination first.
Yeah,
oh well.
yeah.
Anyway, moving on. It was.
Here we go.
Shane Douglas wins. Shane Douglas wins in 6 minutes and 34 seconds.
Now we got Blind Sandman.
Yeah,
what a gimmick.
This bit, you want to talk? People want to complain about the Rock's bit. This thing took forever.
Yeah, It dragged, and it was terrible.
It was awful.
Yeah.
For what they were trying to portray as the new ECW, this seemed so campy and goofy.
Yeah.
With his entire face covered in sporadic bandages.
So do you know how we got to this point? I did a little research to see.
I have no clue how we got to that point.
Tommy Dreamer and Sandman had an I Quit match, and in that match, Tommy Dreamer blinded Sandman with a lit cigarette to the eyes.
Oh.
So Tommy Dreamer felt really bad about this for doing it, but Tommy Cairo celebrated it. And that's why when he came out during his entrance earlier in the night, he was holding the kendo stick to his eyes to take the piss out of Sandman, which led to Dreamer versus Cairo. So that's how we've led to this point here. So we've obviously got Sandman coming out to announce his retirement, which then for some fucking reason brings out his ex-wife, Peaches.
Yeah.
To reconcile. And she tries to tell him that things have changed since they were last together.
Yeah.
And then he makes some disparaging comments.
Yeah. Yep. He sure did.
So and then we had Woman come out. That was her name, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Her name was Woman. She basically, her story is that she used to be Sandman's manager, but she got rid of him when he went blind because he was useless. And then she comes out and attacks Peaches, and then Dreamer comes out
to help
her
for some reason.
Or protect Sandman, because I think she was going to attack Sandman with the stick, but
protect Sandman because he feels bad
about
him in the first place.
And then Sandman attacks Dreamer, and
then it's fooled you. I'm not really blind. Crackety crack of the Sandman's cape.
Next up, we have an very out of focus Joey Styles doing a promo with Shane Douglas.
Yeah. An odd kind of an angle, but I'm guessing
with the one camera we had no other choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But good use of what you got.
That's right. Good use of what you got. So he says a lot. Like with every single talking segment on a microphone in this entire event, it was really difficult to hear what they were saying.
Yeah.
Because it was just so distorted.
I mean, it's like the PA system at any indie punk show.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is. It's it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's never enough microphones. There's no stand. It feeds back all the time, and and it's way too it's way too tinny. Yeah,
exactly. So, but what we do get out of it is him mentioning a lot of Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and everything, and he obviously eventually announces that Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be returning in a few weeks to face, Stunning Steve Austin.
Stunning Steve Austin, yeah.
It's going to be coming to ECW from WCW to face, I guess. It'd be it'd be Shane Douglas and Steve Austin versus Ron Simmons and Too Cold Scorpio. That was the match that was announced.
Oh, is that where it went? That how it went? Okay, I got lost. Yeah. That's what we got.
That's what we got out of that.
But apparently the crowd already knew it. Like this was
the crowd were like saying like Austin's name and stuff. Yeah,
there were certainly still, this is early. I'm guessing early era. Well, it's 94. I mean, there was early internet, very early internet.
Oh yeah, super early.
But
internet,
I mean, I'm sure there were certain dirt sheets or like it got around. Same way anything gets around. Word gets around.
I actually looked earlier to see if there were any like major historical events that happened in 1994, and the one thing I did find was
professional wrestling or just in the world.
Just in the world. Do you remember Netscape Navigator?
Yeah,
it started in 1994. It's the leader of web browsing in 1994 was Netscape.
Yeah, Netscape Navigator. Yeah. which eventually, if I remember correctly, eventually became what's now Firefox.
You think you might be right. Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, we had Stone Cold. Obviously, this is where kind of Austin came up with his kind of like his character for the future Stone Cold persona.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously he was only in Extreme ECW for what, a little bit of 1995, and then joined
a year and a half.
Yeah, not even that. I mean, I think he joined ECW at the start of 1995, and then went to WWE very shortly after that, I think. So wasn't there for very long. I think he was there for a bit of 95, basically. So there's that. Making easy work of this pay-per-view. God damn.
I know, right? I mean, there's not a lot to talk about with it. It really, like you said, it really wasn't much of an actual pay-per-view the way we think of pay-per-views.
Do we know them now? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a very raw look at the earliest bits of ECW. I mean, it's a great...
And it was super
capsule.
Interesting to go back and see it, but it was just we can get through the next few matches very quickly. Well, we had Taz before he was Taz as the Tasmanian Devil.
Then we've got
the Tasmaniac, sorry.
The Tasmaniac, yeah.
Who gets knocked out by chloroform and loses and gets a bullshit chant from the crowd.
Yup.
And I'd probably agree.
I mean, it seems like something a heel would do to get to beat. I guess Dean Malenko was a heel.
Yeah. I guess it had a desired effect. I mean, Dean Malenko got booed for it, but I think
Taz was over as unbeatable. He's kind of still was that unbeatable Tank.
Exactly. Thing. Yeah. Next we had Public Enemy versus Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck.
Which remember we saw last week when we watched WrestleMania 15.
Yeah, Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge. Yeah,
we're in the tag team. We're in that tag team. The tag team battle royal.
Yeah, so this reminded me actually now because you said last week that they were Public Enemy, and that got me to thinking. So Public Enemy did get signed by the WWE or WWF at the time in 1998.
Yes,
and
they did.
They were briefly in the WWE, and it seems like they were not very respectful backstage. And
no, they were not.
They were sent out there with the APA.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, you know the story. And the APA just beat the fuck out of them on live television.
Yeah.
And then they were just pretty much like fired straight after that match, and we never seen again. So this tag match was
a Brawl Games match.
Yeah, which basically means it's a last man standing match, and then once you win that, you're at the winning team's allowed to use baseball bats. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Public Enemy
signature match, right?
Signature match, yeah. It's just a thing that started somehow, and it became their thing.
It became a thing.
They knocked out Mikey Whipwreck. Midway through the match, and then beat the shit out of Cactus Jack with a baseball bat.
Yes, yeah. So I think the way he gets, because they use powder, they throw powder in Cactus Jack's eyes.
Oh, that's right. Cactus Jack accidentally knocks him out.
Yeah, he does his double arm DDT onto Whipwreck because he doesn't know who it is, and then obviously,
I find it extremely hard to believe that Cactus Jack couldn't tell the difference between. I mean, look at the size of Mikey Whipwreck.
Mikey Whipwreck's a 21-year-old kid at this point.
He was 187 pounds. Rocco Rock was billed at 250, and Johnny Grunge was billed at 263. Almost 100 pounds more. Like, you're telling me Cactus Jack, even blinded, couldn't tell the difference between 180-pound Mikey Whipwreck and 150-pound. What's really going on here? I don't know what the fuck happened. No, I'm just...
Yeah, weird one.
Yeah, weird one. Public Enemy are the new ECW World Tag Team Champions.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then we have what was the build main event between Sabu and Chris Benoit.
Yeah, which I guess was they were feuding over something. They were actually feuding over something.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know the backstory with this, but
I think it was I'm tougher than you. No, I'm tougher than you.
Yeah.
Let's fight about it.
Pretty much, yeah. But the match ended very quickly because they went for either a back body drop or a flapjack or something, and Sabu kind of just went, landed straight on his fucking head, and
it was bad to watch.
Yeah, it was really bad to watch,
it hurt watching.
Apparently injured his spinal cord, resulting in some sort of nerve damage.
Yeah.
And I don't know
and this is where Chris Benoit got the nickname the Crippler.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of didn't
know it was a legitimate thing.
Yeah. This is kind of crazy, but this is a little bit I read about this. Immediately after the match, it was said that when Sabu was in hospital, he refused to speak in order to protect kayfabe as part of his character, as his character didn't speak. Paul Heyman had to act as a translator. This lasted for hours until Sabu was eventually forced to talk in order to save his life.
Yeah, I heard something about that too. I remember he certainly was protective of his character.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, man. It's fucking real.
Yeah.
You take this shit seriously.
He certainly took it seriously.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously this is where shit just fell apart.
It just became, it was a entire clusterfuck after that because
majorly, yeah.
What are you gonna do? Your actual main event is just ended.
Yeah.
So they threw 9/11 out there, and then there was maybe going to be a match. And then Public Enemy came out, and then Too Cold Scorpio.
So 9/11 takes down Chris Benoit and pins him for a 3 count, but then it doesn't count because it wasn't a match.
Yeah.
But even though the referee counted the 3, and then the locker room just empties out. Everyone's out there. Leads to a brawl.
It was just go out there and make some noise.
Yeah.
Cause some chaos. Give the fans something.
Some chaos. And then
and we'll figure it out later.
Somehow leads to Benoit versus Scorpio.
And
then it
somehow.
Then it kind of ended up in a double count.
Get in the ring, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it ended. Yeah,
and
it's like I noticed as well. They were they weren't being handed the mic. The ring announcer was raising the mic up to them from the ringside
because it wasn't wireless. It could only go so far.
Fucking hell. Right. Well, that explains it. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I didn't think
it was just god damn. But anyway, it was just the match kind of ended, and then the event.
And then so did the pay-per-view, and then so did the feed. It just kind of ended.
And then literally, there's still 2 more minutes after that. You literally see people filing out of the arena.
Yeah, kind of like how our podcast just sort of
and it's just the same
fall
thing.
apart and
yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean.
That's it.
That's it, right? That's pretty much it, right there.
Yeah. I mean, we did what the dice told us to do, and
we did what the dice, and we did watch it. We did watch it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to review. It's hard to review something like this because reviewing something like this, well, what we have to do whenever we review something is we have to review it. We have to take our own, advice. We have to live by our own mantras, and we have to rate it for what it is and what it was intended to do, and not whether a 30-year-old low budget one camera event holds up to the scrutiny of 2024 $billion production quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course it doesn't.
It's a different thing.
Of course it doesn't. But for what this was, taking out the unfortunate the unfortunate event and the end result of the main event, you kind of have to eliminate that from the rating of it, because that's what just wasn't supposed to happen, and there was no way for them to. There wasn't anything else but throwing everything else at it. Because there wasn't anything else but chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
The matches themselves overall, while nothing was super memorable, the matches themselves were all good.
Well, that was ECW in a nutshell. We've watched WCW events with much worse matches than
where it's just god damn it. I mean that Ric Flair versus fucking Rick Rude match was garbage.
Yeah,
and those people, and this is I mean. Too Cold Scorpio and Mr. Hughes, I think, was probably the match of the night as far as
I'd say so. I think that was up there as the best match. Yeah.
But cementing themselves as coming out of the gates running.
Yeah.
This pay-per-view was an excellent showing of what the new ECW, what you're going to get with this new ECW. And for that and for the matches themselves, I'm going to give it a 16.
16.
I'm going to give it a 16.
I was going to go for a 14, but I think we should. How's 15? As a PTW rating.
How is 15? How is 15? Yeah, I mean, well, that's the middle between 16 and 14.
So I think that's our number.
That's our number. I think that's our hashtag. I think that's our number.
Yeah, I think 15. I mean, if you contextualize it, of course, you don't want to you put that match on. So you put this event on in this modern day, it would be absolutely. I mean, no one would be talking about it. But
that's what I mean. There wasn't really anything that happened in this pay-per-view that I would go back and watch again, because it was all good. It was all showcases.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was all showcase.
Exactly.
But and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, fine 15.
Yeah.
It works for everything.
I'm happy with that.
WrestleMania 15. This gets a 15. Next week has nothing to do with 15s. What is next? Oh, next week's not 15. Next week's 12.
12?
Yeah, our top 12.
Oh, is that next week? Jeez.
Yeah, next week is our PTW top 12 something.
So we need to. So we're going to do a top 12 WrestleMania top 12, but we haven't decided or figured out yet what that's going to be on. So,
you know what? I think we just go with entrances. Why don't we? Because that encompasses whatever type it was.
Well, I'm happy with that because I fucking love entrances. So
yeah, man, I love watching entrances. So
yeah.
But we'll ask the fans.
We'll get some feedback from sure. Let's do that.
Right. Other than that, I just got to tell you to follow us on social medias. Leave your reviews.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Punks Talk Wrestling. Patreon.com/Punks Talk Wrestling, where you can donate $1 for us if you want.
Yeah.
We've got old uncut episodes up there. I'm not going to do the uncut episodes anymore. And I might, and if we've got some extra stuff that we can put up there, we'll put it up there. But it's WrestleMania season. We've got so much going on with the ramp up to our, with the ramp up to our supreme intellect in all things professional wrestling and Phil Collins championship match coming up the week before WrestleMania.
That's right.
Just don't have the time for it right now. And also, be honest, nobody's listening to them. So I'm not gonna, it's just gonna be real. Like, there's no point. There's no need for me to unnecessarily spend my time doing a thing that has no value.
So until people are hitting up the Patreon, then there will be no content on the Patreon.
Yeah, but I think I think we might move the Patreon over to like get the merch out. Like, we could do a sticker. I think, you know what? We're gonna put a stick. We're gonna get a Punks Talk Wrestling logo sticker up on the Patreon.
There you go.
So that there's a reason for you to go to the Patreon.
Exactly. There you go. That sounds good. I'm into that.
And maybe we'll put up some videos from when we're at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That'll be good. When we got some stuff to put up there, we'll put it up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Other than that, I think that's it. Unless you got something else. Unless you got a proper punk pick.
No. Once again, I don't.
That's all right.
I've been too busy traveling the world to find any.
Same goes. I mean, you know what? We're hyper focused on. Well, you've been traveling the world, finding all of the hidden gems of professional wrestling and Phil Collins facts. I did see, which should bring some sweat to the brow of the anonymous podcast critic, whomever they may be. You locating an ancient book of Phil Collins lore in a bookshop,
a little bookshop in Paris called Abbey Bookshop, and I did. I found a book.
Shout out to Abbey Bookshops in Paris.
Yeah, I did. I did some reading. I've done my research, and I will continue to do my research. I'm hitting up the library every day. I know all my Phil Collins now, man. I know where I'm at.
In 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks' time. This will become a legendary event.
That's
an
right.
event of legend.
One for the ages.
Hence why it would be called legendary, because it will be of legend. It may be a very sparsely told legend.
Be the showcase of the mortals.
The showcase of the of the something.
Yes. Of us.
We'll get
guys.
a better we'll definitely get a better hype tagline.
We need a marketing team. We haven't got one of them.
Yeah, we haven't paid. Yeah, we're taking out a small business loan just to afford the services of our special counsel, Danny the Brain Bauman.
That's right. Yeah.
Punks Talk Wrestling Incorporated is going into some debt as we speak to make this happen. But that's what you do. You invest in your future.
Yep.
You invest in what you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And then step 2 is question mark. And step 3 is conquer the world.
There you go.
Finish the shorty. Hashtag finish the shorty.
Forgot about that one.
Oh man, yeah. No Digibonus, no BitBest, but those are still out there. So
they come naturally. You can't just force them.
They come naturally, yeah. But we did get some good ones this week. We got between the matches.
I like that.
We got Kensington Canvas.
Yeah.
You got he's British. We've got hashtag how we got here and hashtag think that's our number.
There you go.
So I all in all, I think a pretty solid, pretty successful and productive podcast.
That's right.
Recording. We said how's about we talk about at the beginning, so I can make that transition like we've been doing. How's everybody like the new transitions into our topics of discussion?
Yeah, that's a new thing. I enjoy those.
that intro. That's another Crown original track.
That's right.
From our yet unnamed EP, because we haven't named it, so it's yet unnamed.
So it's unnamed.
We've got a bunch of demos you and I worked on started back in the pandemic.
It was during the pandemic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been using as the theme song for this, the opening and outro.
Yeah.
And the new that's a secondary track. So more of those are coming.
That's right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I guess that's it.
I think that's it.
Man.
That's the end of it.